Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 988A, and today's date is June 3rd, 2016, and the title of the episode is The Entire Economy is All Smoke and Mirrors. Prepare for the Economic Collapse. Let's get into the economic collapse financial news. Now, today the market was moving quickly downward when the job numbers came out, and we can see all over the corporate media the job numbers were not good. But we saw at the same exact time gold surge by $30+. Now, what's very interesting about all of this is that we received terrible job numbers, but the unemployment rate dropped to 4.7%. Now, I looked at the information and I said that most likely they're going to bring it to around 4.8%. Well, they surpassed that. They decided, you know what? Let's go for it. Let's go for 4.7 because that looks really good. And this will convince everyone that we are in a complete recovery. But when we look at the job numbers, they are awful. The BLS, they reported that in May that they added 38,000 jobs. Well, this is the lowest since 2010. The household survey, well, that was just as bad. 26,000 jobs added in May, bringing the total to about 151,000 jobs. And we know that the unemployment rate, it dropped to 4.7%. This is the lowest since August of 2007. And what happened in 2008? That's right. The entire economy started to fall apart. And the unemployment rate shot up. So we see there are 94.7 million people that are out of the labor force. It increased by 664,000 in 1 month. And of course, what they're saying is that these people don't want a job. They don't want to earn a living. They don't want to support their family. They don't want to go on vacation. They don't want to pay rent. They don't want to pay their electric bill. No, what's happening is there are no jobs. This is the problem. So in total, there's about 102 million plus Americans who are either unemployed or no longer looking for work because they can't find any. So we have a major, major problem in this country. Now, the U.S. government reported that in May, 59,000 full-time jobs were lost. However, we see there were 118,000 part-time jobs that were gained. Now, I don't know where they're getting this number from because when we look at retail, we see stores closing left and right, and these numbers do not make sense. But if we take what they're saying and we take it as truth, which we know it is not, but let's just go down that path, we see that we're replacing these full-time jobs with part-time jobs. So, over the past 2 months, the labor force has lost 312,000 full-time jobs. And we've gained 118 part-time jobs. This does not look good. This shows us that things are not going well. So we have millions of people out of the job market because they can't find work. We have people losing their full-time jobs, and somewhere, somehow, people are getting part-time jobs. And think about this for a second. Once the full impact of Obamacare hits businesses where they're going to reduce hours, get rid of employees, what do you think this scenario is going to look like? It is going to look a lot worse. Now, since December of 2014, the U.S. has added 455,000 waiters and bartenders while losing 10,000 manufacturing workers. And if we go back in time, we can see that all the manufacturing jobs are being replaced with waiters, bartenders, waitresses, because these people cannot find the same full-time jobs. Manufacturing is pretty much dead here in the U.S. A lot of it's been shipped off overseas. So when we're looking at all these indicators, we are seeing that this economy is not doing what the president has said, where he said that the economy is in full recovery. This is what they want everyone to believe. We are coming up to an election time period. They're trying to make it look really, really good. Actually, this happened right when we were in the 2008 elections, where they tried to pretend the economy was doing very well, everything was contained, and it completely fell apart right before the elections. And it feels like we're heading down that same path. Now, to add to the misery, we see in April, the U.S. service sector had a little bit of a bounce, but today it looks like the service sector, well, it imploded once again, and it is not getting better. New orders actually dropped. It's the biggest drop since 2008. And as we move forward, things are not looking good at all. Actually, U.S. commercial bankruptcies, they are soaring right now. Standard & Poor's reported that among the companies it rates there are 12 defaults in May, which pushed its speculative grade corporate default rate up to 4.1%. Now, this is the highest since December of 2010, when we were recovering from the financial crisis, according to the government, of course. So just 5 months ago, the default rate was 2.8%. That's how fast credit is deteriorating. Even during the early phase of the financial crisis in September of 2008, when Lehman, when they filed for bankruptcy, when everything was going crazy, the default rate was only 2.96%. We're at 4.1 right now. And then, of course, in 2009, it skyrocketed to 12%. So right now, we're worse off than when we hit that crisis in 2008. I mean, red flags, anybody? What do you think is happening here? This whole entire economy that the U.S. government created with the Fed is all done with smoke and mirrors. It's an illusion. So the total U.S. commercial bankruptcy filings in May soared 32% from a year ago. And this is coming from the American Bankruptcy Institute. It was the 7th month in a row, year over year, that we're seeing increases in commercial filings. And we know that commercial bankruptcies, they're going to go higher and higher. It's going to get worse and worse as we move forward. And of course, Obama is out there patting himself on the back that the economy is fantastic. He has completely transformed America, well, in more ways than one. But he's trying to take credit for all of this. And what's going to happen is that this economy is going to come tumbling down, one way or another. Now, of course, as we know, the government, the central bank, they're not going to take the blame for this. They'll never admit that they did anything wrong. They'll never admit that the economy was never strong. They're waiting for this special event. And when this special event occurs, we don't know exactly what it is, but it has to be something big. It has to be something where the financial institution is hit. They will blame this on another terrorist group, another country, whatever they have to do to take blame off of themselves. This is why they don't care that they're creating bubbles. This is why they don't care if people realize what's going on. Because they're just going to take your eyes and move them someplace else. Just like they're keeping everyone's eyes on the stock market. Just look at the stock market. That will tell you the story of the economy, which we know is completely false. It's fake, phony, and false. Now, as this economy continually deteriorates and we move into that collapse scenario, Obama came out with a whopper saying, let's raise Social Security benefits. Yes, this is the time to do it because the government needs to support everyone, make everyone feel good for when this economy collapses. And if you notice, the entire country is being supported by the government at this point. The bubbles are being supported by the central bank and the government at this point. And we have to realize that the U.S. has approximately $80 trillion on unfunded liabilities for Social Security, Medicare, and other entitlements, sitting atop a workforce that is rapidly aging and an economy that is collapsing. Now, the president claims the disaster known as Obamacare is a complete success, that he created 14 million jobs. Well, we know all of this is not true. I mean, the 13th exchange has closed, defaulted. And we see that they haven't reached the numbers in Obamacare whatsoever. The 14 million jobs he's talking about, well, what are they, part-time? Non-existing government jobs? Well, guess what? If you really look at this, and we look at the facts, there are fewer full-time, full-pay, breadwinner jobs in America today than when Bill Clinton was president 16 years ago. That should tell you something. And we see at this point, he's using whatever he possibly can to convince everyone that look how great the economy is. And we know what's happening right now. The opposite is happening. They did this back in 2008, where they tried to convince us that everything was fine, where the economy was doing well, everything's contained, they're not forecasting a recession. It feels like we're at the same point once again, but 8 years later. Feels like nothing has really changed. Well, actually, things have changed. It's gotten a lot worse. Because this time, the American people are sitting on the sidelines, and the central bank and the U.S. government created this entire fake, phony, and false economy. And when this comes down, it's going to come down very, very hard. Now, out in Germany, we see that Deutsche Bank, their ATMs would not allow people to withdraw cash. Now, they're saying this is due to a technical glitch, and a lot of people were not able to withdraw any money, and people were getting scared, nervous, and worried. Now, I don't know if they're experimenting with some type of software where they can shut things down very quickly, but it seems that these technical glitches are occurring more often. And this should tell us something. This should tell us that something is going on with the banking system. And as we move closer and closer to this collapse, we need to realize that this economy is one big illusion, and these job numbers that came out is the biggest indicator that they just lied to the American people. Even the corporate media is scratching their head saying, all right, these are the worst job numbers, but the unemployment rate came down to 4.7%. Anyone believing this? No, people are not believing this. This is why gold shot up, because people saw this and went, okay, this report that came out about the job numbers tells me they lied about everything, and this is another big lie. I better protect myself. And they went out and they purchased gold. This is exactly what has happened. Now, everyone should be aware of what is going on here. You should realize that we are heading down a path which is going to accelerate. And you can see the manipulated numbers that we talk about. They do not match what is really going on in this economy. And as we move further and further into this year, it's going to be a separation and people are going to stop believing. And you need to be prepared for what is coming. Just look at Venezuela, just look at Argentina, just look at Brazil. You don't want to be in that scenario where people are running to the market, where people are fighting over the food, where the value of the dollar is decreasing hour by hour, where it takes more dollars to pay for that food. You need to have food, water, medical supplies, gold, silver, cash on hand, a weapon to protect yourself, because you know people out there, when they're desperate, they're going to go around looking for the supplies. Now, if you're going to Costco, to the supermarket, continue to go to that. If you're going to Life Reliance and you're getting your food there, go ahead and go to lifereliance.com. But wherever you're going, continually prepare. Do not stop. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.